My parents have a large family. I'm nearly adult male, the oldest of 10 and soon to be 11. I will be moving out of my parents' house and in with one of my friends in April when I turn 18. Then, sometime in the summer, we'll move in together with another friend. My friend's parents, who agreed to let me move in, are happy for us to stay until we find a place that works for us. I say all this now so you'll get where my head is. Anyway, my parents never should have had so many of us. They struggled when I was younger and there were less of us. But they believe in having a lot of kids, in bigger families being better, and dismiss the idea of needing to be financially capable of having all these kids. This has placed a lot on my shoulders from an early age. When I was younger and we had some contact with extended family, my parents would borrow birthday and Christmas money for the household and never pay it back. They would encourage me to work around the neighborhood to earn extra cash. I did. It always went to them. I was also placed in charge of my siblings at times. My siblings had none of the expectations put on their shoulders. It led to this weird hybrid issue of them being spoiled but also being aware we don't really have enough and expecting me to sacrifice for them, but also saying I'm the better parent of the three, and no, explaining I'm their brother and not their dad hasn't helped at all. They don't want to do a thing for themselves. It's not a great dynamic. Once I was 12, I worked solidly, firstly doing chores around the neighborhood and then babysitting. Then I got an actual official part-time job. All the money I earn goes to the household, and it just about helps, but not really. I've said no sometimes and my parents make a huge fuss. I don't have contact with my extended family anymore, and when I did try to reach out for help last year, I was told nobody wanted to deal with the mess my parents made. When my parents told me baby number 11 was due in a few months, I freaked out. I cannot believe they keep going, and yet I can. But it was then I decided that I needed to just make it through to 18. I do not want to make too much of a fuss because my dad has connections to the local police, and if I left before I turned 18, he would call friends in. But my parents have been talking as if I will stay home for several more years, and they can rely on me working full-time and helping with the kids. So I sat them down and told them they need to figure their crap out because they can't rely on me forever. I told them they were irresponsible and reckless having so many of us. I told them they'd been failing as parents and needed to do better. They were angry at me, but I'm used to that. They're always angry that I use Jamie instead of my legal name, James. Jamie is too gay for them, but I did say more than I intended to, and I wonder if I went overboard. Am I the idiot? Your parents' priorities made me sigh and laugh. Yes, focus on Jamie being too gay while working him like a slave while you pop out more babies. Shaking my head. You are not the idiot, but hear me out. You must change tactics. Your dad's connections put you in danger. Shut up and quietly plan your exit. You're what's called a parentified child. It's not okay how they've treated you. You need to be ready to never speak to them again. As soon as it's safe for you, as in you've made a plan and you've set everything up for yourself in secret, just get the heck out and mean it. You'll never get them to act differently, but you can have a different life. But seriously, shut up about it because, again, do not underestimate the danger you are in. Exactly. Prepare all your documents. Get them to your friend's parents' house. Now. They could use your info to take out loans in your name without you knowing, ruining your life before it's even gotten started. And lock down your credit now. Time for your parents to carry their own self-imposed burdens. Have you considered that OP may still want to have a relationship with his parents and siblings? I agree with you that he was parentified and should take precautions. Everything you advised him is okay, but you may be exaggerating a bit on the dangerous aspect of things. OP hasn't talked about violence or neglect. He's spoken of them making some really the star of her own movie. She is very self-centered, loves making things about herself, and must always be the center of attention. I don't mind, she and Sarah are good friends and seem to get along great. Jane has her 25th birthday coming up. Naturally, she wants to celebrate herself in a grandiose manner. Sarah asked Jane if she could throw a party at my house. I was a little hesitant, but they assured me it would be mostly the same people we always have over. I agreed. Over the weekend, one of the boyfriends of their group sent me her TikTok. It turns out that Jane had over 50 people coming. Our usual get-togethers are 20 people max, and that's with a bunch of my friends and their SOs, who are most likely not invited. I asked Sarah about this and she said Jane got a little overexcited and had this big blowout planned. After a little back and forth, I told her she couldn't use my house. Sarah tried to push back, mostly out of loyalty to her friend. She didn't really argue. Well, Jane is hysterical about it. The party was supposed to be next Saturday. If she can't find a suitable space in time or budget, she will be embarrassed in front of her friends and followers. I was being unreasonable. She deserved this celebration. She thought I was cool. I was letting down Sarah. What gets me is that she didn't even consider my problem. I agreed to a celebration like usual, with maybe a few more of her friends. She invited 50 people, most of whom I don't know. Sarah has repeatedly asked me to reconsider, but her heart isn't in it. She also understands Jane is being unreasonable, but she said Sarah had already promised this big bash and it would devastate her if she looked like a liar in front of everyone. I haven't budged yet, but I do know what kind of histrionics and drama would unfold if she didn't get to host it. Am I the idiot here? She's going to be 25, not 5. Who in the heck demands that a friend throws them a party and then invites a horde? A user, that's who. Your house, your rules. She lost me when she talked about her followers would be disappointed, as if they were hanging on her every heartbeat. Not the idiot, by the way. OP, Jane took advantage of your offer. Considering what you've told us about Jane, are you really surprised that something like this happened? You keep letting Sarah off the hook. I don't think she's as innocent as you believe. Personally, I think she was rude to ask you to do it in the first place. She knew Jane had a big blowout planned and never said a word to you. It's also a little weird that Sarah loves throwing parties at your house. Don't cave. If Jane's extended friends are anything like her, they'll trash the place while criticizing it for not being worthy of their high standards. Let her find another place. My wife, 28, and I, 30 male, are expecting a baby girl next month. We've not yet decided on a name, and it's becoming worrying that we might not reach an agreement on what to call our daughter. We have very different ideas about what the name should be. My wife likes nothing too classic and ordinary like the names I've suggested. Elizabeth, Emily, Natasha, Hannah, Catherine, Francesca, Matilda, Annabelle, Isabel, Vivienne, Sadie, and many others. My wife has suggested some names I would consider far more modern, and she likes unique and/or names I find very hippie. Sky, Indy, River, Ocean, Seraphina, Atlas, Clove, Dove, Asteria, Lennox, Ember, Winter, with a Y. We have thrown out hundreds if not thousands of names, and any time I ask her why she dislikes any of the more known or common classic names, she says she likes none of them. She either finds them boring or learning and she doesn't like that. I told her it would be better for our child to grow up with a normal name than one made up to be unique. She told me she would never agree to a name like Elizabeth or Amelia, another name I suggested. I told her I would not agree to a unique or weird hippie name for our daughter. She told me that's why we're still looking, and I told her that her recent name suggestions have been worse. She told me the feeling was mutual and that I would not force her to change her taste. She also told me my description of her names is unfair and there's nothing that unique about most of them, and I simply reject everything that's a little more modern leaning in usage. We took some time after that and haven't returned to names in about 4 days. I can see she's bothered by my choice of words, but she's also frustrated and feels our daughter's due date looming over us. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot just for dismissing the names Asteria and Seraphina. Seraphina as modern, hippie names when they are hundreds if not thousands of years old. Go pick other reasons to claim to dislike those names. It would help if you guys split the difference by naming your daughter Tiffany. This name will annoy both of you by having a long medieval history while also sounding irritatingly modern. By traditional, OP pretty clearly means to say normal, or basically like all the other names. It's not the age of the name, it's how uncommon it's been over the past X years in the USA. I doubt you go for Noor, despite it being a very traditional name, in common use in Malaysia. OP wants their daughter's name to not stand out. OP's wife wants their daughter's name to stand out. I doubt anyone even cares about a stranger's name as long as it's not Jack Daniels or Princess Luna V or something similar. Everyone's the idiot here. It's okay to have different preferences, but you two are insulting each other. You'll need to compromise. Maybe each of you can choose a name. Why not compromise and have a first and middle name? When the kid grows up, they can settle on what they prefer to be called. There's someone in my friend group, Marie, who I consider more of an acquaintance. To be honest, I wouldn't be friends with her on my own, but she's friends with my other friends, so I'm cordial. Marie is very insecure and has thanked us several times for putting up with her and letting her be herself because she's apparently cycled through several friend groups since moving here a few years ago. Unfortunately, I can see why. Considering how insecure she is, she also seems to think she's the smartest person in the room at all times and is always interrupting people if she thinks she can share a fun fact that makes her look smart, even if it means correcting someone on a joke. It feels like she's constantly nitpicking, and often she will dig in her heels and argue about something that she turns out to be wrong about. She's also very touchy-feely and likes to give hugs when she drapes her whole body over yours, and she gets upset when I am not, ever, in the mood for one of those hugs. We all got together for a meal this weekend, and my entree was a bit spicy. I said I was going to pour myself a glass of water. Marie starts loudly saying, "No, don't drink water. Water is actually useless for spices. Drink a glass of milk instead," and then starts explaining why milk is better for spices than water. She absolutely bulldozed over another friend who was in the middle of speaking to say all this too. I told her that water would be fine and could she please just chill. Marie wouldn't drop it and kept saying milk was better and water wasn't helpful for spice. I'm over here like, I didn't eat a ghost pepper or anything. It's like a 3 out of 10. Can you relax? At this point, a couple other people are telling her to just let me drink water, and she's starting to dig in her heels about how it's objectively better to drink milk with spicy food. I finally snap at her and say, "Oh my God, would you drop it already? You complain about how no one likes you for very long and then you turn around and act insufferable. Just shut up about the milk. I don't care." She breaks down crying on the spot, and the clamour of some people comforting her and others saying, "I mean, that was harsh but true," derailed the whole gathering. Marie said through another friend that she wouldn't speak another word to me until I apologised. Our other friends are pretty torn, and some are saying that it was too harsh because she's younger than the rest of us, although we're all in our 20s. I'm willing to apologise, but I'm not the only one who did anything wrong here. I won't speak another word to you until you apologise. Good. Problem solved. You've given her the information she needs to fix her life, and she can digest it where you aren't. She owes you an apology for harassing you about the allegedly better way to deal with spice. Still, she's never going to do that, is she? Standing up to someone who's being an idiot is not an idiot move. It's too bad other people haven't told Marie it was time to shut up earlier and more often. If they had and she'd listened, maybe Marie wouldn't have cycled through so many friend groups in the last few years. Crying and playing victim to get sympathy because the bad man was mean to her is a limited strategy. Hopefully your friend group will get sick of her soon too. I'm just logical, and it's objectively better people are the worst. If you want to be the bigger person, you can always try to explain this to her when it's a less heated period. There's a reasonable possibility that this person is on the spectrum, and it's really up to you on how sensitive you'd like to be on that by having an, "I'm sorry that I spoke to you like that. I shouldn't have, but I also want to explain some observations I've made that make it really hard to relax and have fun as a friend group lately." Apology feedback combo. I have several friends with ASD. If someone says, "Let them drink water," they will hush and let you drink the water. Marie was just being rude. Don't apologize. Take the silence. It's golden. I want to go to Disney, so I've planned to go down for a week. It's about a 10-hour drive and it's already really expensive, so I decided the best option was to drive down instead of a plane. I invited 2 of my friends to join me, so 3 people are in the car. The plan is to leave around 3 a.m. and we'll get to the hotel in time to check in, then spend the first day at Disney Springs. Due to it being a 10-hour drive, we'll all drive 3.5 hours, so everyone has time to rest and take a nap in the back. We all agreed that everyone needs to drive. I have a friend I've known for a long time and I mentioned the trip. She asked who I was going with, and I told her it was our mutual friend and then someone she wasn't close to. She then asked why I didn't invite her. I politely answered that this was just planned so we could get closer. She kept pushing and seriously asked why she wasn't invited. I told her since she couldn't drive, we were driving down and we all agreed having someone not driving wouldn't work. The road trip needs people to pull their weight and not just sit in the car. She got offended and I asked what did she expect. I told her why she wasn't invited. This resulted in an argument and she called me a jerk. The reason why she doesn't drive is because she's afraid of it. She hasn't renewed her license since she got it years ago. Edit, I've not been invited to stuff she does with people I know either. Last fall she went on a trip with 2 people I knew and I wasn't invited. That's fine, I don't need to be invited to everything. Seriously, I don't have to invite everyone to everything. None of my other friends asked why they weren't invited. They told me to have fun. If you don't want her there, fine, but the driving reason is idiotic honestly. Why is it so important to you all that everyone pull their weight and not just sit in the car? Couldn't she chip in some other way to even things out? She could have chipped in with gas money, food, drinks, etc. You are the idiot. The driving reason is pathetic. Friendships aren't always about being transactional. I disagree. OP's not the idiot. You gave a polite answer first, but she pushed. Driving trips are difficult unless you specifically have friends who love to drive long distances, and having someone who can only contribute via money for gas, food, etc. is tough. Driving is mentally exhausting, especially in preparation for a theme park trip. Standing in lines and managing crowds are also exhausting. The money the non-driver provides doesn't seem equal to that in my opinion. Have fun and enjoy your vacay.